We are popping a bottle for episode 40 of the Ambition Hour podcast. We're going to keep it nice and clean. We ain't going to pop no eyes out. So I just want to celebrate. We're going to... Hey, yes, bitch. Episode fucking 40. All right. It's nice and tasty.
Can I hear that thing?
To my little sexy voice. You are now tuned in to the motherfucking Ambition Hour podcast, blazing through your speakers. You ready?
5, 4.
Yo, and welcome to the Ambition Hour podcast. It's your girl, AuDii 3000, and this is episode 40! Yes! Welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Ambition Hour podcast. As you guys can see, we have a brand new home. Feeling hella bossy right now. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to have moved our podcast to another room in the house. Shout out to Hav and my dad for helping me do all of this. I appreciate that, and I also appreciate everybody who watched last week's episode 39, and any episode before that. I appreciate you. I can't believe this is episode 40. I am so grateful. Before we go into the gratitude and all the amazing topics that I have for you guys, I would like to tell you guys to join the WTW fam. Now, if you want to know how to join the WTW fam, all you gotta do is just hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell that's right next to it, that we get notified each and every single time that we post something on our YouTube page, or if you're listening to us on WTW Radio, make sure that you also subscribe to the SoundCloud and to the Apple podcast that we also have. And this week, we dropped a new video. Hello. A new song, hello, and a new podcast, hello, episode 40 of the Ambition Hour podcast. For this week on YouTube, if you're subscribed, I don't need to tell you this because you already saw it, you already left a comment, you already liked it. But if you haven't seen it, it's okay. We dropped a video for With Me by Hav, which is from the project of Ventus's Dream. Now, this song is awesome. I love it. It's so like, I don't know. I love it. 'Cause I love the whole project, but I'm happy that this is the first video that he's made off of that project. So I'm very happy that it's that song. The video is dope as fuck. I feel like each and every single week, like we just get better, like with the videos, and then we also get better with the songs. And this week we dropped a song by, this is the first time that is James Rowland, with Laid Back Sosa, Never Coming Down, and they're brothers. So I think that's so dope that they came up with this song together. So shout out to them. And so now that we got that good stuff out, oh, by the way, if you want to know everything WTW, all you got to do is go to our website, which is WTWrecords.com, and there you'll be able to find the links to everything. Me telling you the links is not even important because all you got to do is just go to the website and you can find everything there. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to you first, and then thank you to hip hop. Now, the reason why I want to say thank you to hip hop is because I feel like without hip hop, my vision wouldn't be as great as it is, and I wouldn't ultimately find the strength and I guess the courage to do what it is that I'm doing, just because I saw a lot of people in the hip hop industry kind of like taking the rails when it came to the entertainment business, like in radio and in TV. I felt like equally those two things, like the entertainment and radio, were the ones that kind of brought me into doing this as well. And then hip hop just made me want to do it even more because I loved it so fucking much. Now, if you guys saw, I don't know, if you guys saw on Netflix, Hip Hop Evolution came out with season 2. Now, season 1 was awesome. I was a little sad because it was like, I think 4 or 5 episodes, but it basically like talks about the evolution of hip hop. The person who hosts the show is he's an artist. And so his goal basically, and his purpose for doing this documentary is to, find the roots of hip hop, you know, the founders. So the first episode has the founders of hip hop. He's like going to the projects of the Bronx and he's finding out, like asking the questions that we all want to know the answers to. And he's basically putting, you know, he's kind of like putting that era of hip hop into the forefront in this time and age, because a lot of the times we forget where we came from. Even myself, like I see, like I sometimes forget, like, yeah, there's, you know, artists like Gucci Mane, and there's artists like I'm just like 6ix9ine, and there's artists like a whole bunch of different art, like the Migos, and there's so many artists in but we forget about the ones who basically started all of this. And I'm just happy that he does that. One of the new season features like the very first scene that I see in the first episode is Miami. And then it doesn't even say, you know how sometimes when you watch like a documentary, like it'll say like in the bottom, it'll say like it's Miami or whatnot. All I had to see was like one little like panoramic view, and I was like, that's Miami. That's my city. And so he basically talks about, he interviews Uncle Luke. And I don't know if you guys know, but Uncle Luke is pretty much, he fought for the right to say what it is that we want to say. He had to go to court, you know, so that way artists were able to say explicit lyrics. And I felt like that was just so awesome that somebody from Miami and Liberty City at that was the one to do that for hip-hop. If it wasn't for him, a lot of the artists today wouldn't be able to say what they say now. And I feel like even though sometimes a lot of the stuff, not a lot, but sometimes the stuff that artists do say nowadays maybe isn't the best thing that they're saying, but if it wasn't for Uncle Luke, they wouldn't be able to say it. Like, people were trying to like make this man not say nothing bad because his music was very raunchy. Like, if you heard an Uncle Luke song, you know what I'm talking about. Uncle Luke or a 2 Live Crew song, you know what I'm talking about. And so I feel like, you know, it's a freedom of speech. And he fought for that. He fought that not just, you know, for him and his crew, but he fought that for all of hip hop. So I was very, you know, I was just like, yes, Miami, bitch. And then they come right after with the Bay. I'm like, okay, sprinkle me with some of that, please. Because I need to get more, like, I I already feel like, I already know. I was born in the Bay. I lived there until I was 8 years old. So I know that that's a really big part of my life. It's never going to be, you know, a part of me that's I'm going to deny, but I'm also raised in Miami. So when I got to see like the Bay and how so much music came from there, and then finding out that you know, the Black Panther movement started there, and how Tupac wasn't even from there and he claimed it, and you know, I always knew that he was from the Bay, but then I also knew that he was from LA, but then I also knew he was from other places. But then I hear him say like, just know I'm from the Bay type of thing. And then it was just to see like how the people that were being interviewed felt about Tupac, and it just moved me in a way that I was just so excited and felt so blessed to be able to you know, have a platform like this one to be able to basically express myself. And, you know, being from the Bay, but also being from Miami, I just felt like it was just something so beautiful. And I'm very grateful that Hip Hop Evolution series has a second season. I'm hoping and praying that they have a third one, because they kind of ended it with a little cliffhanger. I thought I was watching a freaking episode of Insecure when they hit me with the last episode of Hip Hop Evolution. I'm like, well, alrighty then, I guess, you know, they left me with the cliffhanger. And if you've seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. But the cliffhanger left me like, now y'all know that we cannot wait. Because I think when I first saw the first episode, like the first couple of episodes of Hip Hop Evolution, I can't even remember how long ago that was. But I know when I saw that it was up, I was pretty excited. They talk about like De La Soul, MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Moni Love. Like, this season was just awesome. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, make sure that you go ahead and check it out. And then so this brings me to my hip hop moment. I brought that to you guys last week. My hip hop moment was like when I first heard about Slick Rick and got introduced to him. And this week, what I wanted to talk about was Rock the Bells. So if you see my shirt, can we see it? Can we see it? Can we see it? Y'all know I be trying to get like some dope ass shirts for y'all because all y'all see is this. The makeup's popping, the hair's popping, the earrings, and then the shirt gotta be popping too. Just know that I'm wearing some regular shorts, some sandals. But yeah, so the hip hop moment comes from this concert that I went to. You guys can see that it's from the Love Below. Wait, the Low End Theory. I'm sorry. The Love Below is Outcast. I haven't even drank that much wine. I'm gonna take a sip because of that. Okay. So the hip hop moment that I wanted to bring to you guys was from when I went to Rock the Bells. Now, Rock the Bells was this concert. As you guys can see, A Tribe Called Quest was there. Nas was there. De La Soul. Rakim was there. Did not see him. I'm a little upset that we missed that. A Method Man, Redman, Raekwon, Ghostface, Immortal Technique, Farside. There was a couple of artists there. I remember getting there, and then the song that we get there is the engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my chain goes off the track. And then I remember they had everybody going low, super super low, getting down, and then went pick it up back on the things. Oh my god, that was just walking into that. And then seeing De La Soul perform, and then Farside performed, and then a couple of Mos Def performed, Method Man, Redman. And then I remember being so excited to see A Tribe Called Quest. I remember that was my whole thing the whole day. I was just I cannot wait to see A Tribe Called Quest. I cannot wait to see A Tribe Called Quest. And then also Nas was going to be there. We had been there for a minute. Listen, I went and got an outfit for that concert. I was so, by the way, I got outfits for every concert. It wasn't just that one. But yeah, I remember just the feeling of everybody. And then I always remember that guy, remember how the Wu-Tang. And this guy, he was an older gentleman. He was probably over 40 years old, and he was white, and he was at the top of his lungs Wu-Tang. I'm pretty sure he was by himself too. I loved it, right? He was. I'm not tripping. He had beach sandals on. Hello hip hop, right? And so and then I remember Method Man clowning on some chick that was in the crowd, saying that she was Hulk Hogan's daughter or something like that. He's like, is that Brooke Hogan? It was just funny. And then when A Tribe Called Quest came out, I remember just feeling, because around that time, because in high school is when I started to really fall in love with hip hop, and I started to really get into the history of what was hip hop. And I remember just hearing A Tribe Called Quest and just being this is something that I've never heard before. And then being able to see them perform, it was just everything I could have ever dreamed of and more. And they did one of my favorite songs, and oh man, I just loved it. And then I remember that we made friends and everything that are around us. And then because I couldn't wait until they would do Help Me Find My Way. I love that song. Messing me up my whole head, teasing me just like Tisha did. And then Five Dog, R.I.P. Five, comes out and just, man, Five was my favorite. I love Q-Tip. And that's something else that they talked about in Hip Hop Evolution, was kind of how Q-Tip first things first. I found out that Q-Tip would make an entire beat, and then if he didn't like it, he would literally erase the whole beat and then come up with a new one. And then because Busta is talking about, Busta's the one who shares that information, and then Busta's just so another man's trash is another man's treasure. And it was just nope, this ain't going to nobody. And then we also got to see Nas perform. And the reason why I wanted to even talk about Rock the Bells was because of Hip Hop Evolution, and the artists that they basically talked about is just oh shit, we saw these artists, because they talked about, in one of the episodes, they talked about they talked about De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Wu-Tang, and Biggie, because it was just kind of the return of New York, or the New York state of mind or whatnot. And so I was just oh my god, they're basically going in the order of how I saw them in Rock the Bells. So Nas, they talk about Nas comes out and Hav loves Nas. So that for me was just like made it so worth it. We had been there for how many hours? Like it was a minute. We were there for a minute, and I'll just never forget that. That's like one of the best hip hop moments that I can ever I like, you couldn't even like in your mind come up with that, and it was just so dope to have seen that. Something that KRS-One said that I kind of want to share with you guys, especially since it's all about positive energy here on the Ambition Hour podcast, is that hip hop was about peace, love, and unity. And I feel that right now, I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, about like the unity and the peace love part. But I feel like right now in hip hop, that's what we really, really need, especially with a lot of the violence that has been going on. And then just like, people just like beefing up with each other. Like, I'm not a big fan of beef. I don't really care for it. I like chicken. So, there's that. And so this brings me to the question of the week. This week, I asked my followers who still watches music videos. And 61% said yes, and 39% said no. Now, when I asked this question, I asked it because the Bruno Mars video and, Gucci Mane, the Bruno Mars video came out. And I'm like, I wonder how many people really still watch music videos. Now, back in the day, listen to me, back in the day. But I mean, yeah, back in the day, like when I was in middle school, high school, music videos were everything for me. Music videos allowed me to see the song visually. It also gave me the opportunity to see the artist's vision, because a lot of the times artists have a vision for their music video, and then the director's job is to bring it to life. And I just remember how important music videos were. We had a top 10 of music videos. Like, we had Direct Effect. We had 106 in Park. Rhapsody wasn't a countdown video, but it wasn't a countdown show, but it was a show that showed music videos. One of them being one of my favorites, which is Through the Wire. So I see music videos like Through the Wire. You think about Through the Wire, and then Encore. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Encore video by Jay-Z, but that video, like, it's just of him performing, but it's also from the Black Album. The Black Album was his last album. And then he really came back like Jordan wearing the 4 or 5. He put that into existence. I think Jay-Z is a low-key sidekick. Am I tripping? I ain't tripping, because he's been talking about his future for a minute in his songs, and a lot of it is coming into fruition. And so like Encore, and then even the I Can video by Nas, like, I know I can, like, even that video, like, and having the kids, and the Major Look video, and just like, bro, so many like music videos. And then so I see the music video for Wake Up in the Sky. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I posted about it and I didn't see it until last night. I'm so bad. But I did watch it and I fucking loved it. Gucci Mane and Bruno Mars are wearing suits that blew my mind. They're all sparkly. And then you have Kodak Black. By the way, Kodak Black, let's talk about how he does really not give a fuck. You can tell that boy from Florida, man, because he was in the video with no motherfucking shirt on. If you from Florida and you go to the beach and you don't look good, it doesn't matter. You still take your shirt off. Know what I'm talking about? So that, And I just love that video because it kind of shows like Gucci, because one of my favorite parts of Gucci's verse in that song is the Gucci Berry White, like. And then, like, I feel like he killed it, because come on now, only Bruno Mars can have Gucci Mane swinging side to side like he's a motherfucking Temptation. But let's not forget, a lot of rappers, a lot of the music that they were growing up listening to is like the Temptations and like all of those different like soulful groups and artists like Barry White. And, Nat King Cole and, like, all of these different artists. So they listen to those artists. And then I can only, like, even, like, remember when we were talking about last week with the Travis Scott video, how he has, like, the whole Dream Girl setup that he has and, like, the old school. That's right. Like, that's something that, like, they're paying homage to kind of, like, the artists that came before them. And it's because it's kind of, like, they kind of low-key always want to be them, I feel. So I loved it. I love I loved it, and I'm happy that people still watch videos, because yeah, we can say like 39% of people don't watch music videos, but 61% do, and that's a really high percentage. I think that's probably one of the highest, and maybe not the highest, but it's the biggest difference in percentages that we've ever seen on the question of the week. So man, check out the videos, man. We got videos on Dub TV that you guys can watch. We do record them ourselves, have edited them. It's something that we do provide here on Dub TV. So make sure that you guys go ahead and watch them. Like these artists, we're not like Jay-Z and shit. Like, we're not coming up with like, what was it? That video, 99 Problems? Bruh, doesn't he get shot in that video? Yeah. Bruh. And even like Beyonce came out with a visual album. Like, come on, man. Like, music videos are dope. It's just we're just in a I guess in an era where it's kind of like it's either a hit or a miss with videos. But I can definitely say that this was a hit for this video, with Wake Up in the Sky. So this past week was Halloween. I don't do shit for Halloween. I don't really care for Halloween. I did dress up for work. It was my first year at my job, like, being there for Halloween. And then so I kind of got sucked into that, like, oh, it's my first Halloween, I'm gonna dress up. Next year, your girl's going in a onesie. But this year, I dressed up as Snow White. Aw, how cute. And which I've worn a million times. I've been Snow White for the past like 8 Halloweens, and so has my mom. Anywho, but something that I noticed on Instagram was people were out here dressed like memes. Like, now, I get it. Memes are funny. But if you don't post the picture, like, this is how I interpreted it. Okay? You literally just got dressed for Halloween, so you can take a picture of it, so you can put it next to the meme, so you can post it on Instagram. You ain't going nowhere. Like, and that to me bothered me. Like, it kind of like, that's why I wanted to talk about it. I don't want to say the word bother because it sounds very negative, but it kind of like, it triggered something in my brain to kind of talk about it, because it was just kind of like, okay, so you guys are dressing up as memes, you're taking a picture, and then like y'all just doing it for the gram. You're not even going anywhere. Like, because the whole thing is just to go viral. Like, because memes are viral. So people think, oh, if I dressed up as a meme, I'm going to go viral. And I get the concept, but I don't get the costume. That's just my opinion. And also, but Halloween on IG, and then what's her name? Beyonce. Well, I don't know why I said what's her name. Beyonce dressed up as Toni Braxton. She gave me all the life that I needed. And some other people got dressed up as well. I didn't really get too much into other people's costumes that much, because that was my last day of Instagram. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later, but that was my last day of Instagram. So I was just kind of like rewatching my story, which I do a lot, and like trying to get the question of the week and kind of like saying my goodbyes on Instagram. So I wasn't really like all up in people's costumes. I love seeing kids dressed up. That's like my favorite thing ever, because I love kids and I think that is the cutest thing ever. And I do have a lot of family in California, so I got to see, the kids' costumes, and like all that shit is cute. I love it. If you ate a lot of candy, if you didn't, like, Halloween is Halloween. Halloween just means Thanksgiving is coming. I love Thanksgiving. I love to eat. So that's like one of my favorite holidays. And so moving along this week, I was just minding my business being nosy. And I ended up seeing a little video that made headlines all over the world. And it was Cardi B responding to Nicki Minaj. Dun, dun, dun. I had to take a sip for this because this was some juice. Before I take the sip, y'all know we don't talk negatively. This is not what this is about. y'all gonna hear me out though. Let me take a little sip. Talking about, because I'm a little parched. All right, that was more than a sip. Might need a little refill. And so Nicki and Cardi have this ongoing beef. That supposedly like they made up at the Met Ball. But then come Fashion Week, that shit blew up. Fucking Cardi threw a shoe. And like all of just like this, I feel like Nori right now. I feel like Nori right now. Nori was just sipping that rose. You know what I'm talking about? Damn, man, I'm hella the feds. Anywho, and so Cardi finally decides to respond. I don't know what triggered her to respond, but I do know that she responded, and it came in like a 8-part video on Instagram. Let me see if I can count this out. Cause when this was going, I was just, like I said, minding my business, being nosy. And cause I was on Instagram, and anytime that Cardi posts something, I always watch it, cause it's either something informative, something funny. It could literally be whatever. But so she posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 videos. 11 videos. And she said Nicki's name. I was shook. I was like, this shit, cause I've seen her talk about it before, but she's never said her name ever. And so I was shook. I was just like, oh my God, finally, like, I love being positive. I love the positivity. I hate drama. I really do. But when I saw this, I didn't know how I was like, I didn't know how to act. I asked Cobb. I was like, bruh, she dropped another video. And it was like back to back to back. And and I was just so consumed into it. And one of the things that Cardi said in those videos is, how convenient. You want to talk shit when you got a song coming out. And da-da-da-da. But, Cardi, my girl, you dropped a video. You dropped a song. Was it a video that she dropped? It was just a song, right? The Money? Yeah. So she dropped the song Money. And then so now as well, like, one of the things that I never liked about what Nicki was doing, I'm not saying that I don't like her as an artist. I think she's talented and smart, and she has a lot of tenacity, as well as Cardi. Cardi hasn't been in the game as long, but I feel like both of them are very talented. Cardi hasn't been a rapper for that long, but she has been. I mean, yeah, she has been. Okay, I don't want to compare them. All I'm saying is that y'all don't gotta do that. Like, it's hip hop is all about peace, love, and unity. And there's no peace here. There's no love. There's definitely no unity. And I feel like there needs to be that. And somebody in either one's corner needs to let them know that. Like, you're not going to get your career to the next level arguing with each other. Unfortunately for us women, being catty is like, people like that. I don't get it. Like, people like the cattiness when it comes to women. But I feel like it's so unnecessary. Like, I saw Moni Love and Queen Latifah talking, like, having this record called Ladies First, and they weren't a group. They just came together and made a song that was empowering to women, empowering to the culture, empowering to hip hop, and it was about equality, and it wasn't about, like, arguing and all of the stuff that's going on. Like, if y'all don't like each other, all right, cool. I've said it before. There's some people that I don't like either, but I'm not going to talk bad about them because I don't feel the need to talk bad about them. And I feel like it's the same thing with that. Now, if somebody's talking bad about you and someone's saying something that, you got to kind of maybe talk to them about it, I feel like it doesn't have to go on social media. Like, that should just be something that you have a private conversation with somebody, as opposed to posting 11 videos about it. Like, and then Cardi talks about Nicki leaking phone numbers and shit. Meanwhile, Cardi done showed her whole text message list and she don't have nobody's number saved. I don't feel bad for not saving people's numbers now because Cardi has nobody's number saved. So then I had one of my followers hit me up on some like, I was just trying to see which famous person I could number I got, and then she said she thinks she got Quavo's number. I'm done. I am so done. Cardi done leaked a couple numbers without like, and that probably wasn't even her intention. But ladies, peace, love, and unity. That's what hip hop is all about. And honestly, I'm gonna be very positive about it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that there's going to come a time where that peace, love, and unity is going to happen between the two of them. I hope it's rather sooner than later. I know nothing bad is going to really happen. I know they're not going to fight. People want a diss record. Actually, what would you want? Do you want a diss record? Do you want them to talk about it? Do you want Cardi to go on Queen Radio? Oh, that'd be lit. Bruh, if that happens, I'm going to need a check. I'm going to need a check. Nicki, you're going to have to send a check because your girl done came up with an idea that is kind of bomb. I mean, but then, bruh, I would listen to that. I ain't never listened to an episode of No Queen Radio, but I'll listen to that. I'll tell you that much. Moving along because that was too much time on that. But it's because it's so juicy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like beef, but I'm gonna know about it. I'm gonna inform myself about it. And it's only for entertainment purposes. Like, you know, because I'm a journalist, you know, I have a podcast. I have to let my audience know that I know what's going on, you know.
Talk about it.
So, Takeoff dropped an album. Now, Hav knows that I say this all the time, and I'm not afraid to say it. It might be this talk. This is not even champagne, guys. This is Moscato Rosé. Takeoff dropped an album, but one of the things that I say is that I can give Takeoff all the loving that he needs, cause I feel like my dog don't get enough loving. Now, Takeoff dropped an album. If you guys know, we talked about this in the episode with Hav and Spitz, episode 38. We talked about Quavo's album dropping. And I did see an interview that Quavo was mentioning about, he didn't really full on say it, but he kind of did say that, like, everybody's going to be coming out with their individual projects, which I think is awesome because we did talk about how, like, you know, they were saying that, you know, Quavo was the Beyonce of Migos or whatnot. But they never really came out with individual projects, Destiny's Child, at the same time that they were a group. They came out with individual projects once, you know, the group was dismantled. Destiny's Child would never be dismantled in my eyes. Every time that I watch them come out in the Coachella performance, I get so emotional. I feel like my, you know, 12-year-old self is right back at it. And so Takeoff came out with an album yesterday. It's called what is it called? Why did I forget the name of this album?
The Last Rocket?
Is it The Last Rocket? I heard the whole thing, by the way. Like, I heard tracks 1 through 12. It is called The Last Rocket. And so Quavo came out with his album, and then he mentioned in an interview that they were all going to be coming out with their own projects, and then Takeoff is supposedly the most underrated, but he's like the dopest one. I love Takeoff. I love his voice. I love his delivery. I love the way that he the way that he puts words together and the way that he just makes them sound, and then his ad-libs, and I really like him. So when I knew that he was coming out with an album, I was just like, oh shit, that's just gonna be bomb as hell. And I did listen to the entire album. There's only 12 tracks. I listened to it I think on the way to get my nails done, and then came back. Like, I don't know. It's 38 minutes, which is all the time I need. Like, I love long albums, but I appreciate 12-track albums. And so track number 1 is Martian, which it basically starts off like kind of like they're going to take off kind of thing, like into like a spaceship or something like that. I don't know. And then like, cause I know he talks something about like the John F. Kennedy's, like the space center that's in like Florida. Like, I don't want to say the city because I'm not 100% sure, but I know it is in Florida, and Atlanta's not too far from Florida. Then he has another song called She Gon' Wink, which I liked. And then None to Me, Vacation, Last Memory, I Remember, Lead the Wave, Casper, Insomnia, Infatuation, which, by the way, ladies, this one's for us. Like, when I heard this song, I was like, oh, yes, Takeoff, okay. And then he has one, Soul Plane, and then he ends it with Bruce Wayne. And one of the things that I like about how he ends the album is kind of like, thank you for flying and something, something, something. Kind of reminded me of Hov's first project, Music to Fly To, which I was featured on. I was the voice. But yeah, so I really like the album. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, I mean, it just came out yesterday. I heard Quavo in it. I feel like that's the only feature that's in there, and maybe the person who's in Infatuation. But honestly, nobody is like in the track list. Like nobody comes up as a feature. But I do know that Quavo was on there because I heard his voice, and I know his voice. And then I do know that in the song Infatuation, that's not Takeoff singing. So I know that's not him. But yeah, so it's a pretty dope album. I want congratulations to Takeoff for coming out with, you know, his own project. One of the things that I always think about when I think about Takeoff is like, who was left off Bad and Bougie? Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know why that came to my mind, like when I started listening to the album, and then I'm like, that man didn't even need to be on Bad and Bougie. He's fine all by himself. Like this listen, for me to listen to every single track, to actually say I'm gonna talk about this project, and then to actually listen to it, come on, that says a lot. That says a lot. And not just because he's my favorite Migo. I'm doing this book. I have it here with me. And it's 28 Days of Soul Coaching by Denise Lin. I bought this book. I don't have a date on here. But I bought this book, I would say, maybe in like 2013, 2014. And I have read it every year around the same time. I love this book. It's basically like it's 28 days. It's 28 days to discover your authentic self. Basically, it's like I'm gonna read the back. It says Soul Coaching is a 4-week program dedicated to an in-depth clearing and cleansing of the different aspects of your life, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. By following the practical, carefully crafted steps presented here, you'll find that you are able to uncover your authentic self. This book is for you if you want to know who you are, why you are here, what your mission is. This book is also for you if you're ready to start putting your needs before everyone else's, living life at a peaceful, moderate pace, loving yourself. By utilizing the energy of the elements of nature, air, water, fire, and earth, wind, and fire. I always think of that when I see that. This program allows you to clear away old blockages so that you can truly begin to hear the secret messages of your soul. Every year that I read this book, I always
Not a paid sponsorship.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting paid for this at all. Just saying I should, Denise. Send your girl a cash app. My cash tag is Claudia L. Anywho, yeah, so I always read this book. I always discover something new. It's a crazy, I don't know how. Every time that I read it, I always discover something else about myself, and I always feel like I take my mindset to a whole nother level. And I also noticed that the different elements that it has, like this is Air Week, so one of the things that I'm kind of like is day 3 that I'm on, and it's like clutter, clearing out clutter. And then this room that we were in was very cluttered, and we cleared it out. So, you know, we had planned doing this last week, the book, and I've always noticed that like with Water Week, it's just an awesome book. So if you want to go ahead and read it, I would totally recommend it. I also started 28 Days of No Social Media. I did this last year as well at the same time that I read the book. And basically 28 Days of No Social Media is 28 days. It's not social media. I'm sorry. It's 28 days of no Instagram. Now your girl is very, very addicted to Instagram. I put the screen time to where I would only be on Instagram for 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that still didn't help, because I would be like, oh, I still got time. And then I would just stay on it. And then it got to the point where I was like doing 15 minutes. That's not why I decided to do the social media cleanse. I decided to do it because last year I did it, and I felt like I took charge back of my life, of my mindset, of my communication, of my face-to-face interactions. I felt like I was able to communicate myself better as opposed to just through social media. And so I felt like, okay, so November, I love November. So no, I was like, we're going to start November off right. This is how we're going to start off November. With it. November 1st, first of all, it's the second month of the Ambition Hour podcast challenge. It's the second month. And so I was just like, I gotta take this challenge up a notch. So I'm back in the gym, but I also decided for the second month to do the no social media and to do the 28 days of soul coaching, because I didn't just want to challenge myself physically. I wanted to challenge myself mentally, spiritually. I wanted to come out of month 2 rejuvenated. So that way when December comes, I'm ready. I'm gonna be like motherfucking Mike Tyson in this bitch. Like, they're gonna be like, what? Oh, by the way, Creed 2 is coming out. And so, just so you guys know, I was definitely a fan of Michael B. Jordan way before Black Panther, because I saw Creed 1. So I'm very excited because that's coming out on Thanksgiving. So after I catch the itis, I may go watch it.
And you saw Hardball.
And I did see Hardball a lot of times, more than once. And but okay, so like the whole no social media thing, I recommend it. If you have ever thought like, man, I need some time off of social media, do it. Just do it. One of the things that I did do, and shout out to How for being that for me, is the Ambition Hour podcast page is not being like my AuDii Ambition page is like not at all. We're not posting I'm not posting anything on there, but on the Ambition Hour podcast page, we are posting on there, but I'm doing it through a third party, which happens to be Hob. So shout out to Hob. Give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. He's also my audio visual guide today, as always. I love him. Thank you, Javier. 40 episodes of
40 waters.
Hey. Okay. And so social media. Okay. So with the whole Ambition Hour podcast page, yeah, we're making sure that we're posting on there because my communication with you guys, the audience, is very important to me. And I feel like it's something that you guys need to always see. Like, okay, yeah, she's still she's still doing the Ambition Hour podcast. But I would like to know that, like, I don't need my personal Instagram page to make sure that, because if you're a fan of the show, you already know every Saturday the audio is out. You know what I mean? And the video is out. Sometimes we drop it on Sundays, but the majority of the time it's on a Saturday. And so yeah, so the 28 days is, it's for myself. If you want to do it, you're more than welcome to do it. I feel like it's something that's awesome for you and your soul. Something that is very important and that is going on right now is early voting. I'm not sure when it started, but it ends tomorrow, Sunday at 7 p.m. And it's super important because it's the midterm election. Very briefly, I don't always talk about like stuff like this on the Ambition Hour podcast, but I feel like I do have a voice, and I feel like this voice, it kind of comes with some responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is kind of like letting you guys know that voting is very important. If you did not get to catch the early voting, you have for November 6th that you're able to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you about no debates because I didn't watch them. I'm not going to talk to you guys about the candidates because I only know about certain of them, the amendments, all of that. Listen, there is so much information out of all of that I can spare you guys. But I do know that in hip hop, it's very important for us to voice that it is so important to go vote. Sometimes we think that my one vote doesn't. I went to go vote on Thursday, and I still think that my vote doesn't count, but I still went. Because I felt like with that, I did my part as not just a citizen, but as a first generation born American in my family. Like, I felt like it was something that, okay, if I vote, then that means my mom is going to vote. If my mom votes, hopefully if I vote, that means that my dad is going to vote. And then not just that, but like I hope that everybody else votes. Today there was an event. I know DJ Khaled had an event at Miami-Dade North Campus. It was a free event. It was like you got to vote and then you got to go to a concert after. Like, come on, that's dope. And I remember back in the back in '08 when Obama was running for president, there was a free Jay-Z, Sean Carter had a free concert for everyone who was registered to vote. That's crazy. That's bonkers. Jay-Z had a free concert. Okay. So you kind of see why I'm very passionate about the voting is because it has been embedded in me since I registered to vote when I was 18 about voting. And I never knew about the midterm elections until now, because as I get older, I see that I'm trying to inform myself more. And it also helps that I have a coworker who's very into that. Shout out to Gabby. Gabs, I love you. He's the one who actually took me to go vote for the first time in the midterm election. It's super important to vote because this midterm election is basically what can set the tone for the presidential elections in 2020. And so to close off the show, one of the things that I did want to share with you guys is the 15 qualities of mentally tough people. So you guys know that it's all about positivity, but I also love to share these type of things with you guys because in hip hop, we need to know some of these characteristics, because a lot of us, we turn to hip hop because we suffer from anxiety, we suffer from depression, we suffer from just a whole bunch of different mental things. And I've been listening to the Charlemagne the God Charlemagne the God book, and which is called Shook Ones, My Mind Playing Tricks on Me. And first off, it was written very well. But he does talk about how, just from growing up in poverty and growing up with your parents on drugs, or you're an alcoholic parent or whatever, that we all go through different things that mentally we can't take sometimes. And in the hip hop industry, it's something that instead of maybe going to a therapist, we would just listen to an artist talk about it. An artist talk about being paranoid or the anxiety, or about being paranoid because you live in an urban neighborhood, or because you are a part, you live in that area, and you live we also live in a world where you're paranoid because you don't know what's going to happen, and then you get anxiety, and then mentally you're just so I was just I have to make sure that I share this, because if I feel that I need to be mentally tough, then other people should hear this as well. So pretty much this list I felt was important to share with you guys, because the fact that I was listening to this book and what he was talking about, it kind of sparked something in me that maybe us in the hip hop industry don't always get that. And I'm happy that he talks about everything that he talks about in the book. So the 15 qualities of mentally tough people, we're going to go with number 1, which is they're emotionally intelligent. And it's basically emotional intelligence is a cornerstone of mental toughness. You cannot be mentally tough without the ability to fully understand and tolerate strong negative emotions and do something productive with them. So one of the things that I know that Charlemagne talks about is how one of the things that they tell you is, okay, so the way that you're thinking, you're only thinking that way because of X, Y, and Z. Or you're taught to think a certain way because you're in the Black or Latino community. And in those communities, you're taught to be for boys, you're not supposed to cry. For girls, you're supposed to be this. Or pretty girls don't cry. Or and it's just the way that our minds are programmed. And it's we're not taught to be emotionally intelligent. We're just taught to not be emotional. And so that's something that says okay, so it's unlike your IQ, which is fixed, your EQ is a flexible skill that you can improve with understanding and effort. So then the next thing is that they're confident. And it says mentally tough people subscribe to so Henry Ford has a quote that says, whether you think you can or you think you can, you're right. Mentally tough people subscribe to Ford's notion that your mentality has a powerful effect on your ability to succeed. This notion isn't just a motivational tool, it's a fact. A recent study at the University of Melbourne showed that confident people went on to earn higher wages and get promoted more quickly than others. Basically, with that, closed mouths don't get fed. They neutralize toxic people. This is number 3. Dealing with difficult people is frustrating and exhausting for most. Don't I know it? Mentally tough people control their interactions with toxic people by keeping their feelings in check. When they need to confront a toxic person, they approach the situation rationally. They identify their emotions and don't allow anger or frustration to fuel the chaos. They also consider the difficult person's standpoint and are able to find common ground and solutions to problems. So I can say that's something that I possibly struggled with. That's why I want to become mentally tougher. I want to make sure that when I do see someone that is toxic, I'm able to neutralize their role in my life. I have been able to do that. I need to neutralize a little more. They embrace change. Mentally tough people are flexible and are constantly adapting. They know that fear of change is paralyzing and a major threat to their success and happiness. They look for change that is lurking around the corner, and they form a plan of action should these changes occur. So embracing change is good. Life is always changing. We're never in charge of our destiny. We're only in charge of how we react to our destiny. So let's embrace change. They say no. I know this is a problem for myself. It says research conducted at the University of California in San Francisco, the Bay. I think my aunt went there. Show that the more difficult you have saying no, the more likely you are to experience stress, burnout, and even depression. Now I know when I wasn't saying no, I was stressed. I was depressed. I was emotional. I was very frustrated a lot of the times, and I felt like I never had time to do anything that I wanted to do because I couldn't say no, and because I was saying yes to everything. Anything and everything that somebody needed for me to do, I was doing it. So I've gotten a lot better with that. They know that fear is the number one source of regret. That's number 6. Mentally tough people know that when all is said and done, they will lament the chances they didn't take far more than they will their failures. Don't be afraid to take risks. So I'm going to go ahead and read this part. It says, I often hear people say, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Will it kill you? Yet death isn't the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen to you is allowing yourself to die inside while you're still alive. Damn, that's deep. That's really deep. That said everything. They embrace failure, which is number 7. Mentally tough people embrace failure because they know that the road to success is paved with it. No one ever experienced true success without first embracing failure. Failing forward, something that we say a lot, is failing forward. And we sometimes miss shots, but if you keep trying to make them, imagine the score that you're gonna have. It's like that's like the Michael Jordan thing. It's like, you know, he makes 1,000 shots, and then out of those 1,000 shots, like, how many does he make? But at least he did 1,000 shots. Like, imagine the practice that he got from even doing those 1,000 shots. I love Jordan. Is like one of the biggest sources of motivation. That's crazy. Like, he's one of the biggest sources of motivation for like anything, because it's like, it's not about, like, you can easily take that. It's not to the chances that you take. It's the chances that you don't take. You know what I mean? Like, man, we really sprinkling some game on y'all today. I'm really excited. Episode 40. Little 40 Wata. So number 8 says, yet they don't dwell on mistakes. Mentally tough people know that where you focus your attention determines your emotional state. When you fixate on the problems that you're facing, you create and prolong negative emotions and stress, which hinders performance. Now, when a lot of the times when I share stuff like this, because I know I shared a list like this last time, is because I feel like it resonates so much with my life. And I feel like if it resonates with my life, it's going to resonate with if I can just get one person to be like, you know what, that list, I needed to hear that list. I'm good. And I see Hav shaking his head. So I feel like maybe, you know, it's probably resonating with him, which is awesome as well. So yeah, they don't dwell on mistakes. That was number 8. Number 9, they won't let anyone limit their joy. Now, this one. when I tell you, I need to take a sip because it's gonna bring me a little joy. These don't be little sips. I should probably drink some water. But okay, so I'm gonna read what it says, and it says, when your sense of pleasure and satisfaction are derived from comparing yourself to others. I'm gonna do a side note. I have compared myself to others. That's one of the reasons why I dislike social media, because I see others people's highlight reels and I compare it to my life, forgetting the fact that even myself, like, I don't post when I'm frustrated. I don't post when I'm on like I don't want to talk to anybody. So I compare my other people's highlight reels to my life, and then I'm just kind of like but you know, I try to be as joyful as much as I can, and I try to I guess, like, make that energy infectious with the people that I am around. And sometimes, you know, I fall into the whole thing of like that I'm just really pissed off. That has been me the last two weeks. I apologize to anybody who I may have crossed. When your sense of pleasure and satisfaction are derived from comparing yourself to others, you are no longer the master of your own happiness. When mentally tough people feel good about something they won't let anyone's opinions or accomplishments take that away from them. While it's impossible to turn off your reactions to what others think of you, you don't have to compare yourself to others, and you can always take people's opinions with a grain of salt. Mentally tough people know that regardless of what people think of them at any particular moment, one thing is certain: they're never as good or as bad as people say they are. Number 10, and they don't limit the joy of others. Boy, this one. See, now I may be annoyed sometimes, and I may be pissed off sometimes, but if you're in a good mood and you're all happy and jolly and shit, I try. Sometimes I may not always do this. And the reason why I'm saying that, and like a disclaimer, is because I have somebody in the room who lives with me and who doesn't see me happy all the time. You know, like, he knows the real me. You know what I mean? So I can't be fronting on here in front of y'all like that either. Like, I can't be like, yeah, I be, you know, making sure other motherfuckers are happy too. Like, because if I'm miserable, like, someone gonna catch that. But I do try to kind of, like, you know, keep to myself, or at least, like, if somebody's happy, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, I'm happy for you. Like, I try to celebrate it with them, or I just let them be, you know, in their own little joy bubble while I'm not. But it's just something that you have to be okay with. Like, if you're not happy at the moment, but someone else is, like, don't try to tarnish that. Don't try to, like, rust it up and, like, you know, bring them down to your level of depression. Like, don't do that. Mentally tough people don't pass judgment on others because they know that everyone has something to offer. And they don't need to take other people down a notch in order to feel good about themselves. Comparing yourself to other people is limiting. Jealousy and resentment suck the life out of you. So just reading that little sentence right there, it just took me back to a time in my life where I felt that jealousy and resentment. And I remember feeling so lifeless. I remember feeling almost like I had no purpose. Like, what am I even doing here? Not on the earth, but in that setting. Like, what am I even doing here? Mentally tough people don't waste time or energy sizing people up and worrying about whether or not they measure up. And instead of wasting your energy on jealousy, funnel that energy into appreciation. When you celebrate the success of other people, you both benefit. Number 11, they exercise. Whew! If you exercise, you know that you got to be mentally tough for that. Because with exercise, there's times that you don't want to do it. There's times that you think you can't keep going. There's times that you want to give up. There's times that you're doing a workout or you're trying to, like, go up in weight. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example. I was going to physical therapy for my hip because I had a really bad sprain on my hip. It was actually causing me to not even be able to work out. I was without working out for almost a year. And so now I'm back in the gym. Here goes back in the gym. I don't know if you guys can tell, maybe because of the shirt. Damn, this earring came off again. I don't know if you guys can tell because of the shirt, but your girl's been losing some weight. I've been feeling good, been going to the gym. I squatted on the squat rack for the first time last week, and I was so excited. And I remember saying to myself, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. There is no way that this hip is able to carry that weight again like it used to. Granted, back then I was working out relentlessly, so it came with that. But now I see it and I'm just like, there's no way that I can put 25s on each side, like of the barbell. Like, there was no way. And I was able to do it. So that with exercise, you have to be mentally tough for that. And not just because it's like a commitment, and you have to be consistent, and it's something that you have to just commit to, and you have to make sure that it's something that you want. Like, we got this picture up, and I just want to go to the gym again. Like, you just gotta, working out just takes your mentality to a whole nother level. I remember just when I'm working out consistently now, so I see the difference in my mindset. They get enough sleep. Number 12, it's difficult to overstate the importance of sleep to increasing your mental toughness. When you sleep, your brain removes toxic proteins, which are byproducts of neural activity when you're awake. Unfortunately, your brain can remove them adequately only while you're asleep. So when you don't get enough sleep, the toxic proteins remain in your brain cells, wreaking havoc by impairing your ability to think. Something no amount of caffeine can fix, and boy, do I know it. Number 13, they limit their caffeine intake. Drinking excessive amounts of caffeine triggers the release of adrenaline, the source of the fight or flight response. The fight or flight mechanism sidesteps rational thinking in favor of a faster response to ensure survival. This is great when a bear is chasing you, but not so great when life throws you a curve. Now, I love caffeine, but I don't drink coffee. I drink tea, and I like to make my tea strong because I don't be sleeping sometimes, and I'm like, I gotta drink some more tea because it's gonna give me some energy. But I'm not thinking rationally because I am so caffeined out. There's sometimes that I feel like I have a caffeine hangover. And so sometimes I have to be very mindful of myself. And one of the things that I do, because I have tea, it's in a powder form, the way that I drink my tea. And the powder form that I drink it in, on the cap, I have take it slow. Not because I need to take everything around me slow, but because I need to take the tea slow. Because if I drink too much caffeine, I don't properly function. I'm awake, but I'm not properly functioning. And that's not good. When caffeine puts your brain and body into this hyper-aroused state of stress, your emotions overrun your behavior. Caffeine's long half-life ensures you stay this way as it takes its sweet time working its way out of your body. Mentally tough people know that too much caffeine is trouble, and they don't let it get better of them. Number 14, they don't wait for an apology to forgive. This past week, I had to learn that. And I am very grateful to have a mentally tough person around me to teach me that. Mentally tough people know that life goes a lot smoother once you let go of grudges and forgive even those who never said they were sorry. Grudges let negative events from your past ruin today's happiness. Hate and anger are emotional parasites that destroy your joy in life. The negative emotions that come with holding onto a grudge create a stress response in your body, and holding on to stress can have devastating consequences. Number 15, and the last one of the list. This is from success.com, by the way. I'm signed up to their newsletter, so I get an email from them like either every other day or every day. And I signed up for it for one specific person, which is Jim Rohn. I was introduced to him from Herbalife. He is a philosopher that has helped mold my mindset into what it is right now, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I did sign up for this to get these notifications, and whenever I see something that stands out to me, I always like to share it with you guys because I feel like, why be greedy, and I also like to talk about those things because I feel like everything that I talk about here, it can help somebody. And maybe you don't like to read. Maybe you don't even like to get emails, but you should get the email that tells you when we drop a video. Anywho, so it says they're relentlessly positive. This is the last one. Keep your eyes on the news for any length of time, and you'll see that it's just one endless cycle of war, violent attacks, fragile economies, failing companies, and environmental disasters. It's easy to think the world is headed downhill fast, and who knows, maybe it is. But mentally tough people don't worry about that because they get caught up in things they can't control. Instead of trying to start a revolution overnight, they focus their energy on directing the two things that are completely within their power, their attention and their effort. Ooh, okay. Mental toughness is not an innate quality bestowed upon a select few. It can be achieved and enjoyed. So that's the end of the 15 qualities of mentally tough people. I read this a while back. This is originally from September 12, 2016, but success.com felt like it was something that I needed to see again because they definitely sent it to my email. Speaking of emails, if anybody knows how to stop getting spam mail from some of these email places, let me know because I've been getting spammed like crazy. But yeah, so this email I had to share with you guys because I felt like it was something positive. Remember, the Ambition Hour podcast is all about positivity, bringing equality and awareness in hip hop. We brought awareness today with, the early voting. We brought the equality by talking about, these two women, instead of being the way that they, kind of like how they want them to be catty. But I feel like even so with men, they want men to kind of like have beefs with each other too. That's why beef is so popular in hip hop. And I guess because I'm so jaded from like the Biggie and Pac beef that I just don't like beef. Not saying that that's what's going to happen, but yeah. So the equality of like just like being some strong, powerful women, the awareness, the positivity. With this list of 15 people. Thank you to all of the things that we talked about today. The question of the week. Thank you to everybody who answered the question. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do it for the rest of the month of November with the question of the week. I might have to have Hav put it. We might be doing it on the Ambition Hour podcast page. You guys make sure that you stay tuned for that. Shout out to Takeoff for his first solo project. If you haven't checked out season 2 of Hip Hop Evolution, go ahead and check it out. If you do want to read the book that I am reading, it is, I'm actually reading this one and then the Shook ones as well. I'm reading the 28 Days of Soul Coaching and Shook Ones by Charlamagne the Guy. I think I'm already on chapter 4. It's really, really enlightening, because he does have, I think, a therapist there as well, and explaining kind of the things that, Charlamagne is talking about in doctor technical big words, mind, brain, work, cells, kind of some that I'm losing right now because of this drink. It's all good. It's episode motherfucking 40 of the Ambition Hour podcast. Sprinkle me 40 water. And I'm so grateful. I am so blessed. Oh my God. Thank you so much for have tuned in. Thank you to all of the guests that we have ever had. 10 episodes ago, we had DJ EFN from Drink Champs on here. And I still think that this is a dream, but this is no longer is a dream, you guys. This is a plan, and this plan is just gonna keep going and going like the motherfucking choo-choo train. You feel me? And so for the 40th time in a row, it's your girl, AuDii 3000. This is the Ambition Hour podcast on WWTV and WTW Radio. Shout out to everybody listening and watching. I am out. Bye.
Then you want one episode.